is Maria Emmerich, and this is my sidekick,
Kai.
Kai, this is my son Kai. He is our recipe tester, and he makes sure everything is really, really yummy. And we don't eat any sugar in our family. You never have you? Nope, he doesn't like sugar. So we have different options, and we want to teach you how to make my flourless chocolate torte. It is so delicious, and it is very, very easy. It's gluten-free. All of my recipes are gluten-free. But we're going to get started, and I can tell you my story while we do that. What you're going to start with, you could use butter or coconut oil. Either one is fine, but if you use butter, you're going to use 1.5 sticks of butter or 14 tablespoons of coconut oil. And we are going to open this up, and all you need is a pot, okay? So we are going to heat this butter over a stovetop. You could use a microwave, but we're not going to use that. We're going to use a stovetop because it's just so simple. And Kai's going to be our stirrer. Here we go. Let's turn this on.
Gotta rub out the butter so it gets warm.
Kai is going to use a whisk and stir that on up. I should have had something to wash my hands. Okay, now we're going to open this other one. Now, the reason I started cutting sugar out of my life is when I was 16 years old, I went to the doctor because I wasn't feeling well. I was twice my size, and the doctor diagnosed me with PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome, which is basically a type 2 diabetes that affects female fertility. And they told me that I wouldn't have my own children, which kind of rocked my world. I also had depression, so I left that doctor's visit with an antidepressant. I also was given a medication for acid reflux. While I'm telling you this, I am chopping up unsweetened baking chocolate. This is 100% cocoa. Get the good kind. It tastes much, much better. And I'm going to chop up 7 ounces of that, okay? Chop it up really fine because you're going to be adding that to the melted butter once it's melted. But during that doctor's visit, my world was rocked because at that time I worked at a coffee shop where I would get up early in the morning and I would make the scones and the cinnamon rolls and the muffins, and whatever didn't sell that day went home with me. So I was living off of sugar, unhealthy food, and I would always make extra because I wanted to make sure I would go home with some cinnamon rolls. So I had to change my life completely, but I didn't want to live off of chicken breasts and broccoli. I just did not want to. So I started recreating some of my favorite foods, such as like a chocolate torte, into sugar-free versions without any gluten or carbohydrates. And I just started living this way. This was 23 years ago. And pretty soon, my husband and I started adopting children. And sadly, he lost his job, which kind of brought the depression back on. So now that my chocolate is chopped, we're just going to wait for the butter to completely melt. And it's almost there, isn't it, buddy?
Yep.
Okay. And someone said, Maria, why don't you raise money for your adoption and write your recipes into a cookbook? So I did, and this was, I don't know, 15 years ago, and it went gangbusters. People love the recipes, and now I have my sweet Kai and my sweet Micah helping me with the recipes. So once your butter is melted, you are going to take it off the heat, okay? Make sure it's off the heat, and you're going to scrape the butter. We're going to take this out, okay, Kai? We're going to scrape the chocolate into the butter or your melted coconut oil, either one. All right, 7 ounces of the diced chocolate. And then we're going to grab a fork, and Kai, can you stir this?
Yep.
And the butter will be just hot enough so it will melt the chocolate, okay? So while you stir that up, Kai, I'm going to tell everybody else what else they need. They need 5 eggs, okay? Because that's what we're going to crack into that, but not just yet. It needs to totally melt, so keep stirring. And we're going to use something called Swerve. Now, Swerve is made with an erythritol mixture, and it doesn't raise blood sugar at all. It's all natural. It's not a synthetic sweetener at all. And we're going to use about 1 1/4 cups of that natural sweetener. Other sweeteners that I like are allulose. These are all things that come in nature that you could use. And I'm going to use a vanilla bean. You could use vanilla extract if you want to, or a vanilla bean. So I better bring this back, my dice thing. Is that all melted? Looks like it is. I'm going to add the natural sweetener. And you could also use something called stevia glycerite. Now, if you tried stevia before and you didn't like how bitter it was, stevia glycerite is a non-bitter stevia, and it's like a thick honey, and you could just add a little bit of that to it. All right. And if you want, you can start by cracking 1 egg into the batter at a time. And Kai, you keep stirring it. Oh, you're a good stirrer, okay? Make sure it's not too hot, which it's not. Otherwise, you'll get scrambled eggs. There you go, my friend. I'm going to crack another. I know you love to crack eggs, don't you, Kai? Mm-hmm. You do. There we go. Mix, mix, mix.
But we want no
Do you want to
milk.
switch? Do you want me to stir it and you crack?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll switch. We'll switch.
Ooh, my arm's
Oh, your arm is tired. Okay.
I've been going fast.
You've been cracking eggs since you've been just, what, 2 years old?
Yep.
And that's what I want you guys, this is why we wanted Kai. Kai loves to cook. And not enough kids are learning how to cook. But you know what? With this COVID time, it's a perfect opportunity to teach your kids, your grandkids, you know, teach someone how to cook so they can grow up to be healthy kiddos too, right?
Yep.
Healthy kiddos equal healthy adults. So now we have this nice thick batter like this, okay? And there's no sugar in it. Actually, we need the vanilla bean, so step aside, my friend. Here we go. You want a good knife is always wonderful when it comes to cooking. So if you use a vanilla bean, you could add your extract if you want to. If you use a vanilla bean, you want to make sure it's pliable. If it cracks, then it's a dried out bean. You slide the knife down the center and then use your fingers to open it up like this, like a book. And you use your knife to scrape out the seeds. And I love to have vanilla beans in the fridge for my ice cream. I make sugar-free ice cream. It tastes great in cakes, in tortes, all of that type of stuff. So add that, and we'll stir that up. And while you do that, Kai, I am going to get the pan ready. Now, if you're like me and you're part of the Clean Plate Club, you might want to use ramekins, because then I allow myself to have 1 ramekin and then dessert is done. Otherwise, you could use a baking dish like this. We have a 9-inch baking dish, and I'm going to spray it with some avocado oil spray. So just spray that up so we don't have this sticky. And something I always add to desserts is salt. Salt is a flavor enhancer, so it's not just for savory things, it's for sweet things too. And we're going to add just a dash of salt in there, about 1/8 of a teaspoon, just to add flavor to things. And this is why everybody loves restaurant food, because they add salt. All right, so now, oh, that looks so good. Perfection. All right, now if you're not afraid of raw eggs, you could taste the batter to see if you like the sweetness of it, but we're gonna just pour this on into the prepared pan. Oh, look at that, doesn't that look good, Kai? Yep. And you're gonna have your oven preheated to 325. 325 it is, and this will go into the oven for 25 minutes. Now what I like to do, Kai, I like to underbake it a little bit, because then it's like a lava cake. Okay. Okay? Yeah. You're like, sure. But this will go into the oven for 25 minutes, so let me put that on in there. But we are lucky enough to have some done already, don't we? We have some flourless chocolate torte done already. I added some beautiful raspberries to it. And Kai, will you be our recipe tester?
That's good.
That's good stuff, isn't it, buddy? Now, all of these types of recipes, there's thousands of free recipes like this on my website at mariamindbodyhealth.com. And if you wanted a dollop of sugar-free ice cream with that, we have that recipe on there for you. And Kai and I do a lot of YouTube videos on the website, so all of you can see how easy these recipes are, that even, how old are you now?
10.
Even a 10-year-old can make it, my friends. So we want to encourage you to start a sugar-free life just like us. Mahalo, everyone.
Mahalo.